Good morning. Welcome to Hope, Faith, and Joy Daily Devotion with me, Pastor Amanda. Sorry, my Bible closed on me and I was like, oh no, I gotta find our spot. Wednesday morning, and we are continuing in Acts. Chapter 6 is where we are at today. And I just realized it. It's the last day of September. October is upon us. So as my brother-in-law would say, it's Halloween. Halloween is upon us now. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked there. I'm just realizing we're at the end of the month now. But we're in chapter 6, and we have this really kind of cool story that happens today. I love this one. So it says that when the disciples were increasing in number, the Hellenists complained against the Hebrews because their widows were being neglected in the daily distribution of food. So what's kind of going on here is that you have two groups of people who are trying to learn how to have community together. And part of this community is that all the widows and orphans are taken care of. But evidently, some favoritism was happening because we have the Hebrews, who were considered to be the Jewish people who were converting over to Christianity. But then we have the pagans, or the Hellenists, who were also transferring over to Christianity, but they had their own cultures, they had their own ways of doing things, and they're trying to figure out how to make it all work. So anyways, what's really important here that they recognize that this favoritism shouldn't be happening, and they needed to find a way to fix it. And so this is what's really cool about this. So evidently, from the way we read this, it's Hebrew leadership that is in charge at this point in time. And so what they do is, of course, they pray. And they get together and they look around and they find 7 people to oversee this project now. Because evidently it's just too much work for the apostles who are in there. It's just getting to be too big of a process. And since the complaint came from the Hellenist group, or the Greeks, what they did is then, instead of putting Hebrew leadership over this issue, they put the Greek, the Hellenist leadership into place so that the widows could be taken care of. Now, this is big. I mean, it seems like a simple story, but this is big, because when we see, it's like when somebody has an issue with something, then it needs to be them. And those who have that same concern need to be the ones who then have oversight over this issue or this problem or this ministry. It's not for someone else to be put in charge of. Like, when I think about this, it's like when someone comes up to me and says, okay, we're just going to be honest here. Like, we need children's ministries, more children's ministries, or something else with children's ministries here at the church. And, it's like, this is evidently an issue that is on your heart. God has placed this issue on your heart. So you need to find people, or together we find people who have that same concern and put you all in charge of it. It went out of the hands of the leaders, the apostles. So, like, in a sense, like, it went out of my hands, that ministry, because evidently, I'm doing a lot of other things as the apostle, the leader. And so what happens is, as people have concerns, it says, well, then this is now your ministry. This is now an area. And of course it says 7 people were put into this. So it was not meant to be left alone, doing it by yourself. We're not doing Lone Ranger ministry here in the slightest. But it shows that people need groups to do this. If it's on your heart, it's really your ministry. It's not something you just expect, like, the pastor to pick up, or someone else to do for you. Like if it's on your heart, God has put it on your heart. And therefore, and then it says that it worked well. Like this, finally, they weren't having the issues that they were having because these people cared enough that they stepped up and they stepped out. And so we have this beautiful way of doing community in church. Oh, I wish we would just do this more often. So one of the guys in leadership of this particular group, his name is Stephen. It says he was a man full of faith and the Holy Spirit. And then, of course, he had some other guys that are with him. And but what happens is Stephen is one of our bold new disciples. And so, of course, he is again out there preaching the word. And now it says what the Sadducee says. So we have had some of the elders in the church go, they're annoyed with them. They're jealous of them. And now they cannot withstand the wisdom and the spirit with which Stephen spoke. So they are just, they're getting all feisty. But they're getting trickier now. So what happens in this instance is that the leaders of this particular community gather together some false witnesses to be able to lie about what Stephen is doing and saying. And so they're kind of gathering a way to be able to prosecute him. That's false. And it's interesting on him that they say that as he was talking, even as he was giving his own testimony for himself of what he's doing, it says that his face was like that of an angel. So evidently he just had this peaceful, graceful sense about him that really probably struck people. But it also says that, we hear about these pastors who are Bible pounders or pulpit pounders and fire and brimstone. I mean, you think about this wild pastor. That would not be what Stephen would be. He would be the very pastoral, very calm kind of preacher-teacher, which probably was attractive to a lot of people. And so instead of vehement and fire-like, he was very calm and pastoral. So, I love that we call him pastoral because of that. But anyways, so we see that he's being arrested and he's on trial, and now he has false witnesses. And so we will learn about his outcome tomorrow. So thanks for joining me with Hope, Faith, and Joy Daily Devotion, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.